Well, like a lot of you, we have gone back to school. And I always forget every single year how difficult it is when kids go to school and then come home. And it's that period of like 2 to 3 hours where you just kind of wonder like what happened and like where did the kids that I know go? Especially when you know so much about how amazing they are. Hear from their teachers about how they had like a great day and they were such a good listener and they were so kind to their friends. And then they come home and it's like, who is this? And the thing is, you're always going to hear people say like, well, you know, they've held it in together all day. And they're just sort of like releasing it at home. And as a parent, I think that can feel two things. One, kind of like, you know, you're being short-ended. And two, almost disingenuous, because you're like, I don't know if I believe that. But for me, I remind myself of something that I learned last year, which is this. When I think back to some of the more like emotionally challenging times for me in my life, like the things that pop into my head right away, right, are when my dad died and when we lost our first child in utero. In both of those instances, we had to go back to work within like a few days. I remember like when those things were happening, right, specifically with my dad dying because I was on a different part of the country, I held it in for the most part. Obviously I wasn't okay, but like I was okay in the sense that I wasn't publicly embarrassing myself. But when I got home, the very first time that I saw my wife and my kids, I lost it. Remember that when those things were happening, like in the actual moments, you know, whether it's doctors or friends or coworkers, you know, they're all like, I can't imagine, or, you know, like you're handling this okay, right? You're so strong, whatever it is. I think we can all relate to those. Once we go back to the safe space that we know and that we love, we can be ourselves and we can grieve in a different way. Not that it seems silly to compare those things to kids going back to school, but the reality is, as I talked about it here before, kids don't have that part of their brain yet to be able to tell the difference between something seemingly minuscule and something tragic, right? Like for them, stubbing their toe and having a family member die, those feel on generally the same range of emotional depth. I'm not saying that I'm perfect at this by any means, but I am saying that it's a helpful reminder, I think, especially as school starts, and your kids come home and they're just like not the kids that you know. That is okay, because all that means is that you are your safe space. You are the place where they are allowed to feel and where they're allowed to be crazy and where they're allowed to have fun and be silly and yeah, sometimes not listen. All that means is that they're comfortable. And the reality is, I know it's easy to forget this, and I know it's also easy just to talk about it, but like especially when you're